Hey everybody, this is Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited to continue working on May Project Life for last year. This time we're going to do 2 outdoor adventure type pages, and I love how these came together. They're both different color schemes, but they are both fantastic. So for this one, I relied more on digital and then printed and cut everything out. So this one is much more of a hybrid scrapbooking project. I have 4 photos on the left-hand side, and then I took a really awesome family selfie with me in the front, and then my family kind of wading in the water looking for crawdads, and I used that as like my large photo, and I just love it. I then took the digital card, journaling card, and I turned it into a paper. You saw how it kind of looks like a mess, but you can't tell once I put my photo down, but I love how that paper turned out, just duplicating the yellow pattern all the way to the top. And I love it. It turned out great. And then I also took some digital stamps that were the florals. If you guys have been around here, you know that I use this physical stamp set all the time. It is 6x8 florals, like I said, and so for this time I'm using the digital one, so that way I could match the colors to exactly what I wanted. I started with a chipboard that said thankfulness, and I really liked the colors on that, and then I just kind of went from there, pulling out olive greens and yellows and some other green shades, but it really complements my photos really well. And I was able to make 3 really great clusters with all the different flowers. You can see that I'm making the main cluster right here with documenting today, a label that I'll stamp on, and then a large light yellow flower. I also have that thankfulness chipboard down in the bottom left-hand corner, and up in the top right corner I will have May Joys. I grabbed the stamp set for the month of May that just came out. It's a 3x4 stamp set, and I stamped May Stories. I was only able to stamp it on there once and then kind of half of another, but that's okay. It works, and I'm just going to keep moving forward. The other stamp, I did such a good job. Sometimes when you have these longer stamped sentiments, it can go wacky. At least for me, it doesn't always work, but I stamped it precisely and it looks so good. So it says the month of May is the gateway to summer, and I was able to take that long sentiment and stack it so that way it would fit on that label that I had for the bottom left corner. And it looks so good. I will then add a darker yellow flower and then a darker green flower, and also some leaves. And what I'm also doing with my flowers is taking the edges of them and kind of folding them up just to make it a little more dimensional. It's something that I've always done when I'm working with like digital embellishments. I will try to fold them up or pop dot them, or if it's flowers, I will crumple them up, or circles and crumple them up, just so it looks a little more realistic and again has that dimension. So up in this top right corner, I have the May Joys that I pop dotted, and then I put a kind of mustard yellow flower by the May Joys, and you're going to see in a second that I punched the hole so that way I knew where the hole was. Like, I wanted to know where the hole was. I punched the hole. I do not like how that sits. I did not like it. So what I decided to do, because yeah, the flower looked like it had a giant hole in it. Sometimes when you punch your holes, you hope that everything looks okay once you punch the holes. And most of the time it does. This time it did not. So I took the flower, cut it off, and decided to put a smaller, kind of a bold yellow flower right there. And that way I didn't have to worry about the holes and I could move on. So now for this main cluster, I have the documenting today, and I just pop dotted that and kind of layered it over the top of my May stories. And from there, I can add in a really big cluster in the negative space of the photo. So that way it brings emphasis to my main photo, but doesn't take away from my main photo. And this type of photo is so fun to do because, your people don't always cooperate when you want to get a family photo. So just getting a photo when they're all doing their thing and it's just you looking at the camera, easy way to get a family photo. And also shadow photos. I love those because everybody has a shadow. Nobody has to pose. Whether you're grumpy or not, you can just let me take a picture of a shadow and it all works out. And some of those are my most favorite photos, is the ones that I have of shadow photos or me with my people just doing what they want. So you can see I am building this cluster and I have several different flowers in different yellows and greens, and I folded up the edges and I love how that adds to the page. It makes things look not so flat and adds to that overall movement. And I did the same thing with the leaves as well. And once those clusters are all done, I can start to do my journaling. Now, this journaling card did have some red, and I decided not to change the color of that text because it is so tiny and it would have been nearly impossible to change the color of it. But I also decided not to erase it because I could have done that, but I really liked what it said. So now the journaling, I'm just going to write about how this is a special little spot for us and we've been coming for several years. We love to come around this time, which is late spring, when we can try to catch some crawdads. It's always fun to catch them. My people love to catch them. I just kind of hang around and watch them and take photos. I'm not so good at catching crawdads. And it seems like there was less this year, but it was still so much fun. And even the teenager was into looking for crawdads. Now this year we didn't get down to look for crawdads, but that's okay. We also did find, my husband found a really tiny baby fish. It's over on the left-hand side of the page, up that top photo. You can barely see it, but it was a really cool find as well. So this page is all done. I can put it back into the album for May and start to work on the next outdoor adventure page. Just love the color scheme for this and how this came together overall. It's so pretty. Okay, so the next one is a local gardens that we went to, like a botanical gardens that we went to, and I loved the photo of my kids. Now I realize that they're playing Pokemon Go, but they were getting along. They were enjoying nature, and they were letting mom and dad enjoy nature even more because they were sitting nicely. And this botanical gardens is small enough that we could kind of wander off and they'd be fine. It has some really unique plants. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but like the red one right here that you see, it looks like a bell almost, is just gorgeous. And then the other one, I want to say that that's lamb's ear or something like that. But now that my iPhone can identify plants, I just am obsessed with naming all the plants. So for this particular page, that is what I'm going to play off of using the physical May kit. So the first project was hybrid, and this one is much more, not much more, it is physical. I'm using all physical pieces. And since I had a large photo, I knew I could use large embellishments and use all that negative space. My original idea was to use the 2 floral tags, and I quickly decided, no, I just want to use 1 tag. I also thought I would use a 3x4 vellum sheet, but then I decided I'd rather use the large tag on the pocket page side, the left-hand side. So that way tags is going to be my overall theme for both pages. And I just need to glue down my photos, make sure they're adhered. I meant to use a pocket page for this one, but then I forgot. So again, just making my photos 2.75 by 3.75 just makes it so easy. And since I did kind of change the design of this and add a cluster over by my photo of my husband and I, it did work out better that I did not use a pocket page. Now this large tag, it's just so pretty, and I wanted to find a use for it. And since I wasn't using the pocket page, I decided, you know what, I can just put the tag down lower than the photos, try that out and see if I like it, and kind of break the rules. Because I don't know, I felt like that tag was supposed to be level with the photos. I felt like that's the rule. And then I was like, well, who's making these rules? I don't know. I don't have to adhere to these rules. So I'm breaking these arbitrary rules that I'm thinking about. And so this tag just looks so good with it cut off just a little bit. I also cut off the large purple tag because I'm really playing more off of the purple in the photo, the purple in my outfit, my husband's outfit, and the purple in the plant. So more the purples and the pinks and just a pop of red. Another piece of the physical kit that I'm using is these green, I want to say they're banners, but they have words on them. I used one on the large photo that says, "A May moment I simply adore." I then took another one and chopped it down so it made it more of like a word strip, and it's May equals magic, and that went at the top of my tag. I also wanted to be able to add some journaling somewhere, and I found these black label stickers. And then I thought, you know what, well, I want to have one down in the bottom right corner of that large photo. But if I put it right there, how am I going to make it so that way it's balanced with the rest of the design that I have going on? So I grabbed the other tag that has more of the red and pink in it, and I put it on its side and then layered my label on top. And then I will also grab another green gold banner, and I will attempt to make my own little I don't know what it's called, you guys, you'll have to tell me. But I cut it so that way it looked like a banner as best as I could. And it says best moment. So really I'm leaning into all the banners and tags and layering. And I love how this came together. The other thing that I moved was that large chipboard piece that said May, because I didn't want it down at the bottom. I wanted a smaller cluster, and that's also why the black label stickers would work great down in that corner. I then wanted to kind of balance that out and add another cluster somewhere on the left-hand side, and I figured that I could do that up by the photo of my husband and I. So I did a label sticker, and then I needed to figure out what else I could add to that cluster, and I'm going to do that in just a second. So I added some double-sided adhesive tape to the May chipboard, so that way I knew it was going to stick, and I just love this. I guess when I was working with this large photo, I kind of forgot that with large photos, there is negative space. And in this one, there was a lot of negative space. And I really used it to my advantage. And I love how it came together. I was able to layer in lots of big pieces and a mix of different pieces. I wanted to have one other chipboard over on the left-hand side, and the physical kit did not have a purple chipboard, and I found one in my stash, one lonely purple chipboard. I think that's all that was there, and it says Open Hearts, and I'm going to go with it. I also wanted to add a floral tag there as well, or a banner, and I had a leftover piece from the really large tag, and so I took that did my best to make a banner shape and layer that over the top of the photo, and I just love it. It's another pop of red and purple, and it works great together. And then the open hearts will go over the top of it, and that's another great cluster. And if I hadn't had that cluster, I would not have probably had a great visual triangle, but now I really do. So starting from the bottom right corner on the right hand side, you go directly up to the open hearts and then to the May chipboard. Added in a few word phrase stickers that are purple, which I loved those. It's so fun to have some purple word phrase stickers because those are hard to come by, it seems like. So for my journaling, I just said that we go to this local botanical gardens at least once a year, usually in the spring because lots of things are blooming, and my husband and I got a chance to look around at all the plants and the big trees while the kids took a break playing, Pokemon Go. And then I just said that my husband had such a great idea to go to these gardens. And it's just such a pretty place, and there's so much shade. So this is also something that we tend to do like right at the start of summer when it's not so hot, because it's just a free activity that we can do and visit these gardens. So now I'm going to put it into my album, and I will have maybe one more May video to share because I am super close to finishing May from last year. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing both these pages come together. I'd love a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are new to my channel. Have a great day. Bye.